loving someone and letting them go at the same time. Celeste, hope for humanity. Hi again. Let's talk about what it feels like, what it produces, and what the fears are when we have to let someone go that we deeply love. This could be a friend, this could be a parent, this could be a lover, this could be a spouse. It could be a job. It could be, I don't know, a hobby, a child. There's times in life when things no longer align with where we're going, what we began to grow in. Sometimes what I mean by it not any longer aligning, it doesn't promote your inner strength. It doesn't begin to accentuate the beauty within you. And what I mean by that is, what did you compromise to love this person, this job, this hobby? When we use the word love, it could also be just a depth of satisfaction we once had in something, or a betrayal that happened that took the trust away, or let's see, a trial that just wore you out and you didn't have the fortitude or the strength to continue to pour from your cup instead of knowing how to pour from your saucer, you know? When we use phrases like that, it's more or less how much energy or how much focus did you put on and into this job, this person, this hobby, this friend that began to put you in a shadow, right? Like, don't you have the right, or should I say, don't you really want to live fully and begin to thrive and do the best that you can do? Sometimes there's times in life where you choose to help someone for a season and you choose to be there for them, to add to their strength, to add to their resources. You know, for instance, a sick friend or a loved one, or someone who can't take care of themselves. And sometimes that's in a job too. Sometimes you take a job because you're moved by compassion, or you're moved to help someone complete a project that you really dedicated a lot of time and effort to. But then there comes a time when you're faced with, I no longer am feeling the desire, or let's go beyond feeling. I no longer can move in this with ease. There's something going on. In psychology, they call it like there's a state of dissidence, a state of the person in which you know you want to be and who you are, and who you want to become, or who you feel you're being drawn to become. That space in between, it's uncomfortable, and it sucks, right? Excuse the terminology, but then there comes a time where it forces you to really look inward and have to be going to either therapy or a mentor, or for me lately, I've been doing body somatic work, because there's a lot of things that we hold in our bodies that, like memories, and 9 times out of 10, it's not even stuff from us. Sometimes it's stuff from these very people that we held. It's kind of like holding trauma or holding pain or holding what they weren't able to do. Therefore, you didn't have the equipment or the wherewithal or the strategy or the tools internally, externally, behaviorally to move forward. So then you're like in a quandary, and then you start having thoughts of, man, I feel stuck. I can't move forward. I can't go look for another job. I have no idea to begin how to change my career, or I don't have any clue on how to live alone, or how to pay bills because they paid them all the time, or how to navigate life in a new area when I lived in another area my whole entire life. Sometimes taking steps out and taking risks is necessary, right? But there's times where we have to let go of the things that take up a lot of space in our heart, our minds, our bodies, our intellect. Sometimes our intellectual property has been taken, and we don't stand up for ourselves. We don't have that assertiveness to stand firm and say no. So boundaries are important, right? But do we betray ourselves when we don't explore and look into going beyond what hurts about it to be able to start seeing the benefits about it, the letting go, and then also begin to dream again of where we could thrive in a different way, and speaking to other people who are already doing it, what we might be moving in the direction. Then there's times where we have no idea where we're going. We don't know where God is leading us, but you know something's changing. And that's when waiting is very important. Knowing how to wait in God on, okay, God, let's have a conversation. Let's have many conversations. And sometimes it's us being quiet and asking questions and then listen for the answer. Oftentimes we're so ready to just get up and go that we are like squirrel and God's like, wait, come back here. I'm still talking. You're not really hearing me. And a lot of times getting that wisdom from the word is important. Yes, this is a faith-based video, but that's okay, because no matter if you're faith-based or not, there's nothing wrong with reading other people's belief manuals, right? Because ultimately, I believe it'll ultimately come back to the one and true God anyway. We can agree to disagree on that, but why not explore it? What's the big fear? What's the threat? If someone else represented God in a misrepresenting, how do I say this? If somebody else represented God in faith in a way that turns you off, know that that is that person, and explore for yourself beyond that, right? Because letting go of things and people you love or places that you love is a part of maturing. It's a part of elevating. And oftentimes, right before you're about to elevate, it's going to seem like hell break loose. Really, you become that much more in that state of dissonance, uncomfortableness. Why is it that nothing is easy right now? Because you're being beckoned to search deeper and to allow yourself to be stretched and allow yourself to be in the rooms that you would not normally put yourself in. And there's times where doors won't open because there's something you have to learn in that moment. Why isn't anything opening for me, God? Why do you seem silent? Because there's something in where you are in that moment that he's trying to illuminate. I really hope that this brings hope. Take time. There's a really great book called An Invitation to Silence and Solitude. Amazing book. And I'm also listening to this one book. It's called Who's Talking by Chris Hunt, I think it is. Hint. Yes, Chris Hint. I think that's right. But it's called Who's Talking. It's a black cover with white cursive lettering, and it has a workbook. And basically, it's a metaphor book, which is what I want to write. It's a metaphor book where it's villagers in your mind. Who are you listening to that is driving your behaviors? And who do you need to be listening to? And how do you take cues from yourself to be able to respond differently? But the whole thing is about villagers and who's in the village. And it's an amazing book. And he has videos on YouTube too. Check it out. It's really good. But basically, what is feeding our narratives? That therefore feed our behaviors, and therefore feed our choices, and therefore feed our resilience to being able to navigate in times of change, in times of having to let go. Because it's not just as simple as, oh, let me put this down. Sometimes it can be. But usually in life, it goes a lot more in detail, and it takes a lot more from us. But if we're too busy pouring from our cup, we have nothing left in our saucer. to give to people. We need to be pouring from our saucer and containing and keeping more in our cup for us, in our growth and our elevation in our faith and relationship with God and relationship with higher power, however you need to say it. But the bottom line is letting go of what you love. We need to evaluate what is love, what is true care, and have we been operating out of a false narrative of what that means, what it looks like, and did something unhealthy shape it? And are we being repetitive? I always say to my clients, play the tape all the way through. You're saying that this is care, but if this happens, then this happens. What happens after that? And what happens after that? What's the natural progression of some of our choices, or some of the relationships, or some of the jobs in which we take, or some of the decisions we have to make to leave a job? That we really care about all the people. But if you're being elevated and taken somewhere else for a new lesson, a new gift, why not take it? Live in hope today, because Celeste for Hope for Humanity really is thinking a lot about going beyond the words we say and what it means to love and let go. Have a great day.